snooping allegations which were made by many opposition leaders. They got an alert from iPhone, in their iPhones, from Apple. Pegasus Project, which created quite a stir in the year 2021. Now, what is this Pegasus? Let's come back to the DPDP Act, which was passed in 2023. So this was in response to the judgment of the Supreme Court. In 150 countries, these messages have been received. But hi everyone, welcome. Just initially to keep you all informed that there is a courseware under the name Polity Simplified, which has been published by McGraw-Hill, of which I am the author. It's a book, comprehensive book called Polity Simplified, along with additional content like online videos and practice tests, etc. This will cater to the civil service aspirants, UPSC and State Public Service Commission, definitely. But even people who are just interested in knowing the functioning of the Constitution will find this a good read, in my opinion. So if you are interested, you can just click on the link given in the description to order a copy. Now, let us go to the topic of today's video. So, only yesterday, right, there were snooping allegations which were made by many opposition leaders. They got an alert from iPhone, in their iPhones, from Apple, that they are being under surveillance. There is state-sponsored hacking that may be happening because of the position that they are in or what they are doing, and it became quite a big political controversy. Now, in this video, we will see what is the background of right to privacy in our country. What was the Pegasus Project, which created a stir in the year 2021? What are the key provisions of the Digital Personal Data Protection Act, which was passed in August 2023? What is the present issue of Apple advisory, and what is the way forward, right? So first of all, in India, the right to privacy was declared as a fundamental right under Article 21 of the Constitution in a famous case known as Puttaswamy case in the year 2017. So right to privacy is inherently protected under Article 21 of the Constitution, which is a fundamental right to life and liberty. And the Supreme Court, while giving its judgment in that case, also said there needs to be a robust digital personal data protection framework in our country. Not just digital, but personal data protection framework in our country. And in response to that, the government constituted a committee under the retired judge of the Supreme Court, Justice B.N. Sri Krishna, which submitted its report. And based on that, the Digital Personal Data Protection Act has been enacted. We'll come to that in a bit, but this is the background to the Indian scenario with respect to right to privacy. Now, there was this Pegasus project which created quite a stir in the year 2021. Now, what is this Pegasus? It is a spyware which can virtually pick everything from your phone, your photos, your passwords, your contacts, your cameras, details, everything can be picked by this spyware. And this is prepared, this is a cyber arm which is prepared by a company called NSO Group, which is based out of Israel. In fact, this can be sold only to national governments with the approval of the Israeli government. That is the importance, you can say, or the significance of this spyware. And in 2021, there was a group of 17 media houses which created investigative journalism, and they got hold of 50,000 numbers in which this spyware, this Pegasus, has been used. And this was in fact leaked by a non-profit organization called Forbidden Stories, which actually, collects information from journalists and puts it in the public domain. And there were 300 numbers which were from India out of that 50,000 list. It included Mr. Rahul Gandhi, the leader of the Congress party. It included Mr. Prashant Kishore. I'm just giving you examples, who is a political strategist but now is on his own in the state of Bihar. It included the then election commissioner of India, Mr. Lavasa, Ashok Lavasa, right, who took premature retirement and has now gone to Philippines. It included Abhishek Banerjee, who is the nephew of and a leader of the Trinamool Congress party. Very interestingly, it included even Mr. Ashwini Vaishnav, who is the present Information and Technology Minister. So there were 300 such names, which that list said were snooped upon. Their phones were hacked, and it was hacked by Pegasus. And Pegasus is something which can be bought only by national government. So the allegation was that the Indian government got this from the NSO group with the approval of the Israeli government, and they hacked these phones. That was the allegation that was made. Now, this became a serious issue, and there were, some of the attendants of Supreme Court Chief Justices and all who were also included in this list. So the Supreme Court actually set up a committee in October 2021 under the supervision of Justice R.V. Ravindran, who is considered to be a very, very upright and a straightforward and a celebrated judge of the Supreme Court. This committee gave its report in August 2022 in a sealed cover. Its content is not yet made officially public. But based on that hearing, during the course of that hearing, the then Chief Justice of India, N.V. Ramana, and two other judges said, the report says there is no conclusive evidence to prove that the Pegasus, which was bought by the Indian government, had actually snooped on these phones. But the central government did not also cooperate fully during the investigation. That was the overall finding. In fact, they said they found some malware in 5 phones, though they could not establish whether it was Pegasus or not. This is the background to the Pegasus Project, which happened in 2021. Now, let's come back to the DPDP Act, which was passed in 2023. So this was in response to the judgment of the Supreme Court in Puttaswamy case, where they said we should have a robust digital framework, data protection framework. So this law has some very important features. In fact, it provides certain rights to data principals. Data principals are nothing but you and I. We have given our personal data, our Aadhaar number, our phone number, our date of birth, our blood group. All this is my personal data. All that is your personal data. And we have shared this in various platforms with the government, with Facebook, with WhatsApp, with, insurance companies, banking companies. They all become data fiduciaries, and we are the data principals. So there are certain rights to protect our privacy. There are certain obligations on the data fiduciaries. There is a data protection board which has been constituted under this law, which will look into any complaints against the data fiduciaries. In fact, this is the first law which acknowledges the role of women in parliamentary lawmaking. If you look at our constitution or any law made, it will always refer to he, because he includes she. But in this law, in fact, all the sections have been written with she, which is a wonderful thing, because she includes he as well, right? But it is the gender-sensitive lawmaking, you can say, the first such law in India. It has innumerable examples for every scenario. That way, it is a well-drafted law. But what are the shortcomings? There is a dilution in the Right to Information Act because of this law. But I will not get into that now, maybe in some other video. But relating to this hacking or collecting of data or, interjection by the state, it gives unfettered power to the state, to the governments, to collect data or to intercept data in the interest of sovereignty and integrity of the nation, security of the country, maintenance of public order, incitement of offense. Now, these are slightly vaguely defined terms. Anything can be considered as an incitement to offense. Anything can be considered as affecting the sovereignty and integrity of the nation. Now, security of the country is paramount. There is no doubt about that. But it does not take into account the doctrine or the rule of proportionality. In the Supreme Court judgment, they said your privacy can be invaded only proportionally, which means how much is required, only that much can be invaded in national interest. But there is no such proportionality protection under this law, right? Now, coming back to what is the present issue with respect to the Apple advisory. So, a lot of leaders, opposition leaders especially, right, including Mr. Rahul Gandhi, Ms. Moa Mitra from the Trinamool Congress, Mr. Shashi Tharoor has claimed, Mallikarjun Kharge, many opposition leaders have said that we got a notification from Apple in our iPhones. And what did that notification say? That you may be snooped. Snoop means they may be hacked. Their phones may be hacked. by state-sponsored agencies, government-sponsored agencies. It may be because of the fact of what you do or where you are in the public domain. So basically, but the Apple gave a clarificatory statement saying that this advisory is sent. Some of them may be false alarms, but we will not tell when this gets activated, because if we tell when this gets activated, that may help the hackers, though they may be state sponsored, that may help the hackers in tuning their hacking according to these advisories. So we will not disclose when these alarms get triggered, but these alarms may be false also, and the state sponsored hackers may be quite well funded. That is what the advisory also said. So guys, the point is, Apple has not denied that this advisory has been sent. Apple has said that it may be a false alarm, it may be a true alarm also. And more importantly, they said we will not disclose when these alarms get triggered, because that may jeopardize in future when we send these alarms. So we will not say that. And in 150 countries, these messages have been received. But again, that was all not received day before yesterday. They have been received at various points of time starting from 2021. So it's not that all 150 countries, this alarm was received only yesterday or day before yesterday. They have been received at various points of time starting from 2021. And some of the countries, including Indian, the leaders whom we were talking about, have received it day before yesterday. So now, what has the government done? The government has ordered a probe. Of course, I'm not getting into the politics behind it. Political slugfest is happening. Ruling party accusing the opposition of distracting. Opposition saying, no, ruling party is only trying to distract from the real issues, and they are indeed hacking. So that is something which the probe will only decide. But the government has said we have ordered a probe, and we expect Apple authorities also to support or to cooperate. Right? Well, the Supreme Court has said that the government did not cooperate during the probe within the country. But of course, yes, cooperation is important for a fair probe. So now what is needed, guys? First of all, there must be a transparent probe, right? See, because individual rights are very important in a democracy, in a liberal democracy. And privacy has been declared as a fundamental right by a 9-judge constitutional bench. It is very essential. State cannot have surveillance over a citizen unless it is absolutely essential and unless it is proportional to the demands of the state. So a transparent probe is needed. In future, so this is a one-off event, right? This will go away after a few days. But this DPDP Act is there forever. And each of our data is subject to surveillance by state in national security, and it should be done. But in line with proportionality as laid down by the Puttaswamy judgment, and it may change from circumstance to circumstance, it may change from target to target, but there has to be some understanding as to what is proportional surveillance, which can be documented, which can be made as an amendment, or there can be some committees which can be formed to ensure that they don't deviate on that principle of proportionality. And more importantly, the Data Protection Board. I told you about one of the salient features of the DPDP Act is the Data Protection Board. Now this board, see, most of the complaints, it can come against Facebook, WhatsApp, Google also. But government is the biggest repository of data. It is the biggest data fiduciary in the country. And there can be significant issues in the way the government is handling the data. And then as a data principal, I have a right to file a complaint with the Data Protection Board. And the Data Protection Board should be as independent as possible. But who appoints the members to the Data Protection Board now as per the Act? It's the central government. What is the tenure for them? Just 2 years. And they are eligible for reappointment, but they can be removed at any point of time by the central government. Now this is a recipe for bias, because various independent authorities, right, like the Information Commission, right, even Human Rights Commission, all these commissions, it is a committee, Lokpal, it is a committee which appoints the members, and they have fixed tenures, right, of 5 years or 6 years and stuff like that. So this Digital Data Protection Board should be made more stronger. in terms of appointment, in terms of tenure of its members, and also the removal, being more independent from just the executive control. These are the things that will ensure that we have a robust data protection and our right to privacy is protected. Thank you. And now for the UPSC angle. In fact, twice prelims question have been asked, in 2018 and again in 2021. There was a prelims question that was asked, right to privacy is declared as a fundamental right under which of the articles? The answer is Article 21. But now, because this has been in the news, what are the allegations against the state and what is needed to strengthen the data protection and data privacy? Then you give the background, and there has to be a positive conclusion on the steps that needs to be taken for increasing the data privacy and data protection in our country. Thank you.